Are these still the best Travis Scott Jordans to ever release? What's up, sneaker people? It's your boy at QCING Gear, and we are back with another legit check guide. And obviously you guys can see we have the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Fragments in the building, and I gotta say this is still in my top 3 Travis Scott Jordan 1s, and I put these at number 2, only behind the original Travis Scott Jordan 1 highs. These might be better if they were better quality, but quality on these is not that great, which is a shame because the quality on the Fragment highs is fantastic, probably just as good or better than the original release, but it is what it is. From a colorway perspective, I love these. These are fantastic. And we're going to do a quick 2024 update on where we stand with the replica market when it comes to legit checking these shoes. And I would say that these are arguably one of the best and hardest to tell when it comes to legit checking, because the quality on these is not all that fantastic, right? It's a Jordan 1 Low, so it's put together well, but the materials are not top notch like we've seen in other batches or in other releases. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to legit check, but we're going to see where the current market is at in terms of the reps that are out there that could potentially scam people. So here's the rep here on the right, and you're going to see all of the pictures that you'll need to do a deeper dive into this subject on the Instagram account on the screen. Remember, I can't go over everything. I'm not going to go over everything. So you guys will have to supplement this with your own research and your own investigations, because it's the details that matter. And unfortunately, I can't cover everything in all of my videos, but I have plenty of other videos featuring these shoes as well. So those coupled with this should give you a good starting point to be able to start your legit checking. So let's get into it. Now, we will not be going over the boxes and we will not be going over the shoelaces, because when I bought my personal pair of retail Fragment lows, I bought them without the box and they were used, and the laces I have since swapped out because they get dingy, as you can see, compared to the new laces. So I can't use those, unfortunately, to help with the legit checking. But what I can do is focus on the shoes, and that's what we will be doing. So let me get the boxes out of the way and we'll just dive deep into the shoes, and I'm gonna go and hit the things that I traditionally look for when I'm legit checking these shoes. So when it comes to Travis Scott lows, there are a few things that I like to really hone in on because it highlights the differences so much. The first thing is going to be shape. One, overall shape, but two, more specifically, the shape of the toe. The next thing, the most important thing that I like to focus on is colors, because colors are actually where these reps have struggled in the past, and I believe that these will struggle with them still, or we'll see when I get them side by side. So the first thing that we're going to do is go over the shape. If you look at the retail shoe, even though they're used, the shape is pretty specific for a Jordan 1 Low, because this uses the 2015-2016 mold of the Jordan 1 Low and not the current Jordan 1 Low OG shape. And there are some differences in that, and that being that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lace holes instead of 7, which you'll see on the Jordan 1 Low OGs. And not only that, they have oversized swooshes, obviously not on this side because this is the signature Travis Scott reverse swoosh, but they have oversized swooshes, and you can see that on the medial. They also have this toe that the only way I can really describe it is in this profile view. It's both flat and slim, but it's also kind of bulbous in the way it bulges out. You can see that it has this little belly in the profile, and that belly extends off the sides even when dead stock. So when I am looking at shape on reps, those are the things that I look for. And when I look at these, I can see that the rep on the top overall definitely has a bulkier, higher profile. You can see that the authentic pair just sits lower, especially in the side panel, than the rep. And that is a theme that I've seen. It's probably not something you'd be able to tell without having the shoe in hand, but the shoe definitely feels larger and a little bit bulkier. Now, for my authentic pair, the wearing definitely plays a little bit more into that and accentuates that difference, because the shoe's kind of like folding in on itself because it's been worn, while the sides are still stiff and not worn in, but you can still definitely see that bulky shape difference for sure. When you go side by side and you look at the profiles of the back, you can see that the authentic just has a slimmer profile, especially looking at the back heel, than the rep does. It's not by much, but it's definitely there, and you have a slight height difference as well, with the rep coming in at just an overall bigger shoe. But when we look at that toe box, you do see that to an extent they do have that bulging bulkiness that I like to see, but still slim. The difference is that the toe is definitely thicker on the rep, and this black leather comes up higher on top of the toe box than authentic pairs do. And you can see that pretty well. You can see that the black leather rises and then it stops before it goes on top of the toe box, but with the rep it does not. So overall, you have a bulkier shoe, and that's honestly, if you look at enough of these, you'll be able to see that as well. It's honestly something that took me a while to develop an eye for, but I see it, and it's definitely something that Rep Factors have done to try and accommodate the multiple different Jordan 1 Low, Jordan 1 Low OG, Jordan 1 85. They're trying to make a lot of Jordan 1 Lows, and they're consolidating shapes. So that's why you're never really gonna see this look like that. But other than the bulkiness, they've definitely got the spirit of the shape right. You do have the bulbous toe. I would say the biggest tell here is just that the black leather just rises up way too high. I'm sure that that's not really something that you'd be able to tell on foot, but if you are someone that is looking to authenticate, pay attention to those things. The next thing that we're going to look at, and probably the most crucial thing, is we're going to look at the colors. So we're going to take my favorite view and we're going to do this side by side like this. Now, traditionally in all of my videos, there are a couple of things that I have my little hit list for when I'm looking for colors. I'm looking at the color of the midsole, I'm looking at the color of the outsole, I'm looking at the color of the reverse swoosh, and I'm looking at the color of the blue leather, because those are the things that across the board in the 2 or 3 years that I've been doing legit check guys on these shoes specifically, those are the things that the reps have struggled with. And it looks like on first glance they're still continuing with that theme. Now you're looking at this right now in 4K HD in my studio lighting, and you're not seeing huge differences, and the differences were never huge, but the differences were there. And you can see in this view you've got slightly different colors for both the reverse swoosh and the midsole, going from the authentic to the rep. The rep has both a darker reverse swoosh and a darker midsole than the authentic pair, and that is par for the course, right? This has been the case in every single one of my videos. It is something that they get closer and closer to getting, but still, they just can't seem to get it right. And to be honest, I can't tell you why. Any Travis Scott Jordan 1 that has a sail reverse swoosh, which is this, and the reverse mocha, reps have never ever gotten it exact 1-to-1. Now when it comes to the midsole, this is definitely a close midsole color. This is a good angle to see. It's a close midsole color, but generally reps have a yellower sole on them when it comes to that aged sole, and you can see that side by side here. Here's a view of the embroidery for the people that like to care about these things, but I gotta tell you guys that embroidery on Nike's part for the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Lows is and always will be trash, so I don't judge it from a quality perspective, but I have had comments where people claim that I am hiding the embroidery. So here it is right for you to see, but this view really allows you to see that difference between the midsole colors, but it also gives me an opportunity to highlight that next difference that I tend to see when it comes to rep Travis Scott Fragment lows is the blue leather. The blue leather on the rep pairs almost never matches the blue leather on the Authentics 1-to-1. And I honestly can't tell you why. They decided a long time ago that close enough was close enough, and that's just where it's been since. And you can see that the rep leather, hopefully you guys can see, the rep blue leather is just a slight darker shade of blue than the Authentic, which is a little bit more vibrant. And this is something that I've seen time after time after time. You can see it pretty well in this angle, in my opinion, but this is not something that you would be able to tell right off the bat. Obviously, you would need an authentic pair on you to be able to do this side by side, but the blue leather is a different shade of blue when it comes to that comparison. But that is honestly the name of the game when it comes to reps in general. And I say this a lot, but you can see that the blue sock liner is slightly different as well. It's a little bit darker on the Authentic and it's a little bit lighter on the rep. You see the difference in the color between the Nike AirTag, and it's all slight obviously, but you see that difference. You see that slight difference in the color of the tongue, where the rep is just a little bit pinker, a little bit fleshier. And you can see there is again a slight difference in the reds of the Cactus Jacks. The red on the rep is definitely more brighter and more vibrant. So colors generally are off on reps across the board, but if you didn't have the retail reference, it would be difficult to see that. So what you should be focusing on is the shape, the bulkier, chunkier shape of the rep. You can see that, just as I've mentioned before, you can see that difference. Now, if you focus on just that, I guarantee you will be able to up your legit checking skills on this particular shoe by 100%, because it is that consistent. Reps will struggle with this shape because unlike Nike, which has 3 different molds for the Jordan 1 Low, the reps aren't using 3 different molds. They're trying to get 3 different shoes out of the same mold. So they have to make compromises, right? And the way that looks is having that bulkier, chunkier aesthetic. Look at especially in that toe. But when it comes down to it, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna do a black light test because you guys have seen the black light test before on my previous videos, so please reference them, but I will give you guys just some more quick side by sides. This is my favorite angle when it comes to legit checking and comparing any retail shoe, because it allows you to see those color differences side by side, and you can see what I was talking about when it comes to that reverse swoosh and that midsole. But outside of that, quality is the same. The materials are more or less the same. My Authentic pair is obviously more broken in, but that's really what it is when it comes to these shoes. And I'm glad that things haven't changed that much. These are still a pretty high quality, fake when it comes to replicas, but still very much so legit checkable, especially if you're going to be spending the money that these cost. They're going for about $2,000 now, which is absolutely wild. Pairs in this condition go for $1,600. So it's a lot of bread. And if you are looking for an authentic pair, I would hope that you're doing the research so you don't get scammed. But with that said, guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Remember that you can see all of the pictures and angles that you need, specifically things like that I didn't get to talk about, like the midsole text and how it's almost always bolder on the authentic pair compared to the reps. But those type of angles, study them. Look at the way the reverse swoosh is positioned. Look at the way that the toe box is shaped. All of that good stuff. You'll be able to find all of that on the Instagram account that's going to pop up on the screen. Use that for your research references. And with that said, guys, I will see you in the next video. I got way more Travis Scotts coming up. I've got a 2024 update on the reverse mochas and the Phantoms coming up pretty soon too. So with that said, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.